see WWE Talk Show history. Welcome to Wrestling Untold.
Yeah, another one of my favorite hours of the week.
And WWE has changed a lot since one of the biggest pay-per-views in wrestling, Summerslam.
Summerslam was very impactful, I think.
And in the last episode, we did predictions, and now we'll see who is those straps.
Well, let's introduce ourselves first.
I am Carter, aka Skills All Day, still those straps, baby.
And I am Keaton, aka, as you can see, Zero Straps. He's owning me on these predictions. I'm not ashamed to say.
I'm a $1 million man.
Well, that's fine.
And make sure you like, follow, share, comment, because Stone Cold said so.
And also go on our IG page and follow us at Carter_TV. So if you got IG, follow us there. We are definitely going to be posting some videos there. You'll see a couple of updates coming that area. So let's get started. Let's get started at SummerSlam Results. So you can also call me Mr. 3 and 10 because that's how many of them I got right. So Carter picked Roman Reigns to win the Universal Championship. I picked Cena, of course. I'm not sure why I picked Cena. Roman won that match. Carter picked Bobby Lashley to... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Who returned?
Oh, yeah. We had a big return, Brock Lesnar. So...
And his return wasn't as lame as Becky Lynch.
Yeah, going forward, I don't think I'm picking Roman Reigns to win anything as long as Brock Lesnar is in. He's in there.
And he's got a new look. He's got this cool little beard with this man bun.
All right, so we're going to move on. So he picked Bobby Lashley to win the WWE Championship, and I picked Goldberg. I thought Goldberg was a sure win. He was not this time. He was Oldberg.
Yes, he is. Like he is always.
Carter picked Nikki Ash to win the Raw Women's Championship, and I picked Charlotte. That was my first win of the night. I was sweating to get that one.
She's still almost a super.
Yeah. So we both, I think we both picked Sasha Banks to beat Bianca Belair. Sasha Banks didn't compete, but Becky Lynch came back and competed.
Also a former 2 belts.
Carter immediately picked Becky Lynch, and I immediately picked Bianca Belair.
Why?
And no quicker than me picking Bianca Belair, she was squashed.
And she was like the only person who could do the rock bottom.
We're disappointed because we're big Bianca Belair fans.
No, I'm not.
I'm a big Bianca Belair fan.
No one does the rock bottom but the Rock. Like, wow. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Did she get the Rock's permission?
I saw it.
Like, she just...
I didn't like it. But,
25 seconds.
So, Becky Lynch is back. 27 seconds, was it? Well, 20, was it same difference? So, the next match was Sheamus versus Damian Priest. Carter picked Damian Priest. I picked Sheamus to retain. Of course, he did not. Damian Priest is the new U.S. champion, so good for him. Congrats. Shouts out to Damian Priest. Congrats to him. We watched him all the way from NXT. The next match was Arcade Bro versus AJ and Omos. Carter picked AJ and Omos. I'm sorry, I picked AJ and Omos, and Carter picked Arcade Bro. And
you picked AJ and Omos?
I was actually just picking the opposite of Carter at this point because I just wanted to be some type of...
but he didn't know that I win every pay-per-view. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank.
So the next one was the SmackDown tag titles, and we both picked the Usos to beat the Mysterios. Of course, the Usos beat the Mysterios. That was no... then there was a Who Cares match of Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal.
Easy
We
win.
both picked Drew McIntyre. Who is even Jinder Mahal? I don't know. So another Who Cares match, Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is, I don't know what they're doing with her. Yeah. But I picked Eva Marie, picked Alexa Bliss, of course. Eva Marie lost.
He thought Eva Marie was going to cheat.
I don't know. Weirder things happened during this pay-per-view. And then there was an Edge versus Seth Rollins match. Carter picked Edge, I picked Seth Rollins. I felt like Seth Rollins was due for a win. He wasn't on SummerSlam, not on Saturday night. So that is our SummerSlam prediction.
So who won?
Carter won.
No, that's not how you do it. And it's still those straps. Carter, those straps, baby.
He's so humble. He's so grounded. I mean, it's just like there's no other humble like person, and I know I just made that up on this earth. So tell them about today's bracket. Today is bracket
we are going
day.
to do the greatest faction, and I am going to be telling him the bracket. The tables have turned.
And I'm going to make the choices. So this time it's not going to be a Shawn Michaels winner. We can throw out the winner. We can. Yeah. There's all those guys. So let's get started. I'm excited.
Okay.
I don't get a chance to pick a lot. I'm rubbing my hands like Birdman.
So number 1 is the Hart Foundation. Owen Hart, Brian Pillman, Bret Hart, etc.
British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart. Come on, get the whole faction. Put some respect on their names.
The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Jon Moxley. Shield.
So tell them about your our first wrestling event at the arena. We went and the Shield was there. Just kind of give him a little feeling on. This is when he was a big Roman Reigns fan. Give him a little feeling on that experience for you.
I thought I was dreaming.
Yeah, you should have saw the look on his face. He was like, when they came out the
oh
curtain.
Oh my gosh, I've never been so close to Roman
Yeah,
Reigns.
seats were very close. They came out the curtain, and just to see, the music played. They all came out in all black hair. He loved Roman Reigns for about a year or so. But let me talk about the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart, Brian Pillman, Owen Hart.
Thank you.
Excuse me. British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart. I mean, I don't really have to say too much, but Bret Hart's a part of it. Best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. This was a classic America versus Canada, and Hart Foundation was Canada, and America was everyone else. And that's just how they played it. The Hart Foundation, they were baby faces at times, they were heels at times. There was a lot. But I'm telling you that Hart Foundation here wins hands down. It is a great faction. These guys are family. They all grew up together, trained together, and they did a lot.
Okay, so next we gotta keep moving. The Nation of Domination versus the Generation X.
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I'll talk about Nation Domination. You talk about Generation X. So Nation Domination, if you guys don't know, that was The Rock. And he wasn't even the leader. He was kind of like a co-leader. That was Farouk, D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry. Who's my other guy? I'm missing one. It'll come to me. But these guys, polarizing.
Was that when The Rock was a heel?
Rock was a heel. Polarizing. So you had Farouk, who was a great wrestler, undoubtedly a great wrestler. And you had The Rock, who was, again, he was The Rock. You had two leaders clashing at the helm because The Rock wasn't the leader. He was invited into Nation Domination. And it was just, what a time to be alive, to see that, to kind of get there and we are the nation, a domination, and just throw that fist in the air. It was a great time. You tell us about Generation X.
You don't know the opponents?
Or who they went against?
Go
ahead, tell us about Generation X.
Shawn Michaels.
That's all he knows.
Triple H. China.
Mm-hmm.
Too sweet.
Yeah, you're forgetting a few members though.
And then we have Billy Gunn and Road Dogg.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
What about, he was only in it for a brief second. 1, 2, 3 Kid was in it, or X-Pac or whatever he called himself at that time. He was in, although he was put into the Hall of Fame with the Generation X and NWO for that matter. Yeah.
Okay, so who are you going to choose, Generation X?
As much as I love Nation Domination, they did not have the impact that Generation X had. So I gotta pick Generation X. They are the.
Thank you. We don't want upsets today.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one.
NWO.
Wow.
War Games. Oh my gosh. War Games. Wasn't it WWF against?
Well, it's WCW versus NWO.
WCW against.
Yeah, WCW at the time.
War Games. Oh my gosh. Every War Games match is so awesome. And then we have the number 1 out of the 50 greatest wrestlers that WWE has chosen. The New Day. Feel the power.
I love the New Day. I love the New Day. Those guys.
They do not compete.
those guys are great, and they are a faction. We had a discussion about if they were a faction or not. They are definitely a faction. They're also considered tag team, which most of these groups can be considered tag teams too, because they just have two of the persons in it going for tags. But good God, let me just rewind you guys back to, I don't know if it was 97 or 98, turning on Monday Nitro and seeing Scott Hall and Kevin Nash show up. And just saying, what is going on? Because these guys, that's Diesel and Razor Ramon from WWF. What are they doing over there? Just completely annihilating the talent of WCW.
The New Day is watching all upset because
I think the New Day would agree that NWO is something different.
For 5 seconds and NWO
I do like
the
New Day's never thrown a pancake in my mouth. I've never been and caught one and everything. So let's just go NWO here.
You've never seen a New Day wrestling.
I got more great stuff to say about NWO.
Okay, Wyatt Fam against the Four Horsemen.
You talk about the Wyatt, I'll talk about Four Horsemen because that was my era. The Wyatt family is your era.
What? I didn't even watch wrestling Wyatt family.
No?
No.
Well, you know who's in it.
Yeah, it's Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Daniel Bryan was in it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It was Eric Rowan, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, Braun Strowman was in it too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very
And they were like the only faction that could take down the Shield. The Shield was undefeated for a long time, and they took them down, and the crowd was so angry.
That's a respectable group of guys. I don't want to take anything from the Wyatt family, but Four Horsemen. Again, Four Horsemen when I got into wrestling, the Four Horsemen had been in over a decade, and they had changed members. But the Four Horsemen we're talking about, we're going to go with the original members, and that's going to be Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard.
Oh.
In between, we had Sting, Lex Luger, Chris Benoit. We had a bunch of people come in and out of the Four Horsemen. I think they had at one point in time. They could have been managed, I think, by Bobby Heenan, if I'm not mistaken. But at one time, it was 3 wrestlers and a manager, so they were considered the Four Horsemen, more so than like 4 actual wrestlers. But the manager was essentially like an older wrestler. But again, Four Horsemen was just, they really did something great back in the 80s, for the most part.
And you've seen a lot of matches of them in Baltimore Arena.
Yeah. Well, WCW was really
big.
Baltimore was a big area for WCW, and they would come all the time. And I mean, like one of the greatest matches was Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan versus Chris Benoit. They actually fought in the middle of Baltimore Street. And I mean, these guys just hated each other. You want to talk about a fight? YouTube that match at Baltimore Arena, you won't be disappointed.
After you finish this one.
After you finish our video, you won't be disappointed.
So who are you choosing?
Again, Four Horsemen is great. You have Ric Flair and Four Horsemen, but I don't want to be partial and leave out the newer guys. And I'm thinking about this Wyatt family more now. So I'm going Wyatt family here. My apologies to Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, Ole, and all these other guys.
Wyatt family very fast.
Did they?
Yeah, that's why all of them are fired.
Well, I think all of them are fired for a different reason than that.
People got tired of them.
So,
all right, Heart Foundation, Generation X. You want to move on? You want to?
Yes, please.
You want to go to NWO?
No, let's go Heart Foundation, Generation X.
That's probably the biggest one on this board.
So essentially, we have an episode coming up which is going to be Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart.
And we already know who's going to win.
And essentially, Heart Foundation versus Generation X is a preview of Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. This is going to be an open discussion between us. You guys can decide on.
And I'm already prepared for all the things he's going to hit on me.
Prepared, yeah.
Like how Shawn Michaels has had drugs. I know he's going to hit me with all those.
Nope, not going personal.
Shawn Michaels with steroids. I know.
I'm not going personal. I'm only staying wrestling. So Heart Foundation again. I love the Heart Foundation as kids. I can be partial here, but the Generation X was it was put together because essentially the Attitude Era back in wrestling was huge. It was like a change. It was more edgy, and WCW was getting more edgy, and WWF had to figure out how to become more edgy. And they found lightning in a bottle with Triple H, Chyna, and Shawn Michaels. And at the time, Shawn Michaels was already over. Triple H, not so much. He had been around a long time, but he was getting to the point he was going to be over. And Chyna they put her in that group.
She was the bodyguard.
She was the bodyguard
for a long time, and then she actually fought.
Yeah, she won a few championships, a few male championships. I wouldn't fight her. But you know, so if I go with my heart, I'm going Heart Foundation. But I'm not going my heart. I'm going to be fair to the actual bracket, and I'm going to go Generation X.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Come on, fill it in there.
Okay, so next we have NWO versus the Wyatt Fam.
Okay, so again, I didn't want to be too partial. NWO is, I mean, they had their own pay-per-view. It was NWO Sold Out, and they fought WCW wrestlers. So they would have this grand entrance for the NWO wrestlers, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, and from WCW, and they would announce them. They wouldn't play the music. It was just, it was grand. They had their own pay-per-view.
How long was
they were that?
Okay,
it was like, no, it was a full pay-per-view. They were defending titles. They had a ton of titles. They came rolling in the intro of this pay-per-view on trash trucks, like hanging off the back of trash trucks. It was like a black and white vignette. It was pretty cool. I honestly don't believe, like, Wyatt Family, I didn't get a chance to see. I've seen these guys wrestle individually. I don't think I've seen them wrestle together. I kind of pushed them through for their individual accolades. And essentially because Ric Flair was the strong point of Four Horsemen, and I didn't think that was enough to say a full faction. But I gotta go NWO here. That's a no-brainer for me.
Okay, so here's the big match. We have Generation X, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, China, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn against NWO, who I can't say the members because it was like
so many of them.
600. I'm not gonna waste my time,
So the one thing that I'll note here before we go forward is, regardless who wins, X-Pac wins because he was in both the NWO and the Generation X. So that's a fun
Or I
fact.
just take him off the Generation X.
Where will you go here? I want to know your thoughts.
Okay. Well, I'm a Shawn Michaels Triple H fan, if you didn't know. But NWO was great, and they were so much better. I'd actually go with Generation X.
You go Generation X here?
But you're gonna go with NWO because they were much better, probably.
Generation X moved the needle, but not like NWO. NWO made WCW relevant again. And we're going NWO. Yep, there you go. The moment Hulk Hogan turned heel and spray painted NWO on that World Championship plate, and I mean the biggest pop. It wasn't a pop like the crowd was chanting. It was the disgust and the anger. That pop for a heel, that's a real thing, and nothing ever will be like that in wrestling ever again. And then if you go back and look at that, you look at a lot of their videos, you'll see like the reactions. People were genuinely angry because Hulk Hogan had never been heel, and he played his part. Boy, I tell you, played his part. But yeah, NWO is the winner here, hands down.
Didn't NWO spray paint on people's backs?
They would spray paint. They would spray paint NWO, or they would spray paint basically on the backbone to say that you basically had no backbone after they beat you.
And they would spray paint the ring doing it. They'd be messy.
Yep. So that's our best faction. And I hate to say it, but it was very heavy towards the 90s, but Attitude Era. What do you do? So I do have some trivia for Carter, and it is Shawn Michaels based trivia.
Okay.
So who did Shawn Michaels fight at WrestleMania 25?
25.
Yeah, this was the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania.
This is so easy, Dad.
Who did he fight?
This is the Undertaker.
Yeah, it is the
He
Undertaker
lost against
match.
the Undertaker.
This is the Undertaker match. Come here. He's got it. He got it. All right. How many times did Shawn Michaels win the Intercontinental Championship?
Once?
Is that your final answer?
No.
I'll give you one more guess.
It can't be once. It's probably like twice.
He won it 3 times.
What?
He won the Intercontinental Championship.
No.
So you're one
Okay.
for 2.
Yeah.
What was the 2 years that Shawn Michaels won the Royal Rumble? He won it 2 years.
Wow.
And I'll give you one guess, and I'll give you a hint if you get that wrong.
What's the one guess?
No. Take a hint first on the 2 years, and I'll give you a hint if you don't get that right.
It was probably in the 90s. I'm gonna take a guess. So probably 1990.
It was in the late 1900s, yes.
1998.
It's 2 years, so you got to name 2 years.
In 1999.
That is incorrect.
What?
What you do have correct is he did win it 2 years in a row, but it was not 98, 99.
Oh, so it's probably 96 and 97.
And so you had 96. He won it in 1995 and 1996. If I'm not mistaken, Stone Cold won in 1997.
Oh.
So one more. So we do know that Shawn Michaels was tag partners with Marty Jannetty and Diesel. Who else was he tag partners with during the 90s? Not Triple H either. Who else was he tag partners with? He's a big guy. And I don't even think this lasted long. I think it may have lasted maybe a few months.
Stone Cold?
Nope.
What?
Sid Vicious.
Oh,
Psycho Sid.
Wasn't that his enemy?
They became enemies very
What?
quickly. I think
Bret Hart
it was a build up for their feud. Was that they got put together. So that's all I got here. So
Wow. Wow.
You want to close this out?
Wow. Well, I'm still 2 belts, so I'm still happy. And in the next episode, we will do a Brett versus Shawn.
Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna get very heated, It's but it's gonna be an all good fun.
And it's gonna be
We're
a
have a good
long
time.
episode, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned, people. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, follow us on Instagram.
Yep, that's the one. Follow us on Instagram.
Carter_TV.
Something like that.
Something like that. See you later.